No, we don't. His brain was for about 2 or 3 days. I'm sure he still has movies just like I do, just now. Of course, you changed your color, Ross. Well, that's great. That keeps you so young.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Becky is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So that'll bring us to our good news portion meeting. Mrs. Lambert, come up, please.
Do you need the lights off? I mean, it's fine. We just thought we're picture people, so yeah. We just thought it might be nice to have some visuals in case you have been in the closet for the last 3 months. No, so thank you. Thanks. Gosh, where do we start?
Well, I don't know, if you've been following along, you kind of know a little bit of the story, but if you don't, it just kind of started with wanting to provoke a change. And we had the conversation a lot throughout last year, but really it happened sitting in lots of scheduling meetings at the beginning of the summer, where we had time to kind of decompress from the year and think about all of the good stuff that happened and try to push out some of the stuff that hits, more of the media, and trying to switch the whole story, I guess, putting it back on our kids and our kids that are doing amazing things that we knew all year because we get to see them and spend so much time with them. And I don't know, and then the chalk kind of came because it's just as playful and fun, and it's what I do with my kids in the summer, so it kind of felt right. I don't know.
Yeah, we liked the chalk piece just because it was cheap and fun, and we never intended for just to be chalk. So as things got rolling, people would start posting other things, and we really kind of saw pretty fast, just a change in attitudes, and it was really cool. Like all the things that happened. Griff is hanging up signs at the high school and bragging about us there, and it was like, yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. And it just trickled into a lot of awesome things. The newspaper came and did some articles. They actually have a new feature that they do every month where they talk to community members about positivity. We met with the community members. They asked to meet with us. And we never intended it to be us. So we set it up there. We're like, we're going to Batman chalk in the middle of the night. No one will know who is being happy. And we will just get out there and do this at 6 in the morning or midnight. And we kind of let the police department know that what our cars were. And every once in a while they pull up like, more graffiti, huh? So we do a lot of that. And so we didn't intend, and I think everybody's so wary of positivity that at first we got a lot of like, who are you? Why are you trying to be so nice? Look at this. And we were like, okay, so we have to admit that it's us. But that's not the thing. Everybody else is engaged and been doing it. So like I just read every inch of the fall hometown or home front. It's like everything about it is why I choose Tecumseh. It's why I live here. It's why I work here. It's why when there are awesome jobs 10 miles down the road available and looking awesome to me, I still choose Tecumseh. It's why my kids choose Tecumseh. It's why our kids are successful, and as in our thousands of kids and families choose Tecumseh. And we felt like that was like, it's been a rough couple years. There's a lot of other news that we wanted to kind of just bring it up. And I think that's really our challenge to you, is for everybody to do that. It's not a platform where we can just post. It's really fun for us because we can see something that somebody posts, we can see how many hundreds of times it's getting shared, and we have this administrator view of it. But it's really for everyone, and it's just what it should be. It should just be a platform where you can brag, or you can just share this good news, or you can tell something that happened. Or you can be like, guess what? The cross-country team won again last night. Aren't they kicking it out this year? Guess what? Football team won Friday night. We can throw anything out there. I know one of the things for me was, it was the middle of summer, and I had a long day of meetings, like you said, and then all of Will Ramsel's high school calculus test got a text message personally from him, congratulating them. And I have to read this every time because I obviously not a high school calc person, but in the country, 18.9% of kids who take an AP Calc test, by the standards that they report nationwide, 18.9% of those kids who are already taking AP classes, so we know they're going for it, 18.9 of them get a 5. In Tecumseh, 18 of the 25 kids in the class got a 5 on that test. And that's because he accepts, that's what he's looking for, that's his goal. A lot of kids take an AP test to get a 3 because that's what's going to get them a college credit, and that's awesome. I have relatives who teach AP classes and are just reading that going, are you crazy? How do you get those scores? And that's just one story. But that was like, that's why I'm like, hey, did you know this? They're like, no, nobody knows this. Like, well, we're getting some chalk. Like, we're just, so that was our, like that, we're just like, what else could we do? And like, we want those to be the headlines. We don't get to write newspapers. We don't get to do MLive's website. We don't get to do anybody's website. But like, that's what should be the headline. You should know that the girls cross country team is phenomenal in Tecumseh. I don't have any girls on the team. They're kicking everybody's butt around the state. You should know that Will Ramsell is the best math teacher in probably a 5-state area. Like, nobody does this. You should know, and maybe you know, like, the arts in Tecumseh are huge. So when we sit and we listen to people talk about arts, we're like, this is why we're here. This is what we're doing. We do all of this because of the arts. We do all this with the arts. It's amazing. And so it's hard not to be positive. We're kind of optimists anyways, but it was just dragging on us, so we decided to get it out. So that's our charge to you, and I'm going to see if I can click the slide. But this is, or you can just hit it down, maybe it'll go that way. Oh, I got it. Okay, so this is what kids have been leaving us as well, and we left them with tubs of chalk. So the kids have lots of good things to say, and you know, their emphasis are all the same things that we've been saying. It's refreshing, and that was the thing. That's the voice. There are a few hundred teachers and staff members in Tecumseh schools. There's a school board with less than a dozen people on it. There's a room full of people on it. There's thousands of kids who are awesome in Tecumseh. This is who we're here for. That's really the majority, and that's really the opinion that needs to be out there. So that's where it's great to see what the kids are saying. But I think the next time you're on social media and you want to complain about something, like instead first just get out there and say something awesome. I mean, a lot of people in this room have posted and just shared things they love about our town. It could be a business, it could be the Spotted Cow, it can be, you know, just like walking the trails. All of that's the piece. And I don't think anybody here believes that one thing can take us down. I think, you know, those high AP Calc scores are because there's elementary art at the preschool level. I think that those high AP art scores are because there's an Indian trail where you can get out and do fitness, and there's a community that supports those things. It's so connected. It is that like it takes a village kind of vibe. So we can say, you know, Mr. Ramsell is the best, and he is, but we also have to say, like, it's all of these pieces. And some of the pieces were getting just a little shaggy around the edges, and we just felt like the need to put them back together, I guess, is a piece.
Yeah, and I think the community lion's been awesome outside of, you know, when you drive past Rusty Boy and you see it there, it feels good. Sweet Little Annie's has like a teacher appreciation thing they're doing now. Like, it's really cool to see our businesses like coming back together with the school. I think that's been an awesome piece for me. Or, you know, the parent that donated her time to make the bracelets that then she put out. Like,
These, I think,
those
maybe
paid
saw all over
for.
town. It was just paid for by a parent of a Compass student who was excited and took her own money to buy dozens of bracelets. And now the city is trying to raise some money to buy more and make sure they're out everywhere. The city met and made sure it was okay with us to use the hashtag. So we're like, absolutely, that's who we're here for. We love you.
We don't own it, really.
We love you. You love us. It's all good. No, so it's just, yeah, it's all of those pieces. I'm going to go back to that slide because it really is kind of fun about how much the whole community is involved. I can't make it work that way, sorry. Too fancy. Oh, I got it. Oh, look.
I think you did.
But yeah, no, like the community, I mean, just like cool things. Like this was overwhelming to us. Like when someone shows up and decided to make wristbands for everybody in Tecumseh, or at every building before the first day of school, parents decided to put thank you notes and stock it with food and supplies. It's just
some of that stuff was happening before, but it's like it felt like no one knew all these small pieces that kept us going, or continue to keep us going, and it's awesome. It feels good, and I think we feel like it's made a positive impact. So
yeah, so we'd encourage you to do it yourself. It doesn't have to be chalk. It can just be a picture of your car. It can be a picture of what you want to post, and show why you love to be in here in Tecumseh, or why you're engaged. And just like the kids have been writing the chalk, it can be a snap screenshot, it can be an article that you found that supports it. All of it is why we're here. So our biggest thing would be, yeah, we're still going to Batman chalk all night long until it's snowing, and then we're going to figure out how to write in snow. But it's more fun when we see what other people post. So thank you for being engaged if you've already participated, and if you'd like to, keep throwing it at us, because it's fun to see. So, and if you have any questions, we've been meeting with people left and right. It's been really fun. It's fun to see who's also in for positivity. So if there's anybody who wants to meet or talk, or let us know.
Has ideas.
Yeah, ideas are great too. We should keep it moving. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to public comment on agenda items only. Agendas are full, each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. If there's something you'd like to speak on the agenda items, please come to the podium, state your name. Okay, we'll move on to the revisions and approval of agenda.
I'd like to add a revision to discussions to add roll call discussion.
Can I get a second for that motion? To add a roll call to the discussion? Second. Any discussion? Roll call?
Suzanne?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Scheduled reports. Mike, Smith? Please.
Good evening. We'll start off with, last time when I was here, we were talking about replacing the transformer over at the middle school. That went about as smooth as it possibly could have went. Everybody was there on time. Everything just ran smooth. And I estimated about 10 hours, and that's just about what it was. There was an hour extra, just because they had to do some tests on the different electrical circuits and stuff, but that all went perfect. We should be good for a lot longer than I'm going to be around. I hope. The other thing that we were kind of in the stages of doing was the fire alarm testing in all the schools. That's all been completed. I've got the reports back. I'm just waiting for quotes to come back for the stuff that needs to be prepared. The only area of concern really was the pool. And what has happened there is with all the chlorine and everything and the atmosphere in there, all these alarms and stuff have, the contact points in them have corroded, rusted, and so we're going to have to do some work in there to get that taken care of. But that's probably going to be the worst. We also tested it out early in the school year for Griff here, had a fire drill at the high school. One of the flow valves activated for some reason, which there was nothing that clearly showed us. It could have been anything from the city water system dropped or some air pocket in the line that didn't get out or whatever, but everything went well. The systems, good thing, the emergency systems all work good and stuff, and we reset it. We haven't had anything that I've heard since. All the playground equipment for all the schools was went through and repaired and stuff, so we're good the first day of school with all that. LED lighting repairs throughout the schools were addressed. I'd say we probably got 80–85% of it done. We still have the drive going into the football stadium that we're trying to get additional lights for that weren't originally counted at first. And the reason it takes so long is just a process with warranty. The to send the lights that they took out to fix some parking lot lights back, then resubmit to get some more replacement parts. And it's just it's a slow process. And last but not least, I'd like to announce our new director of facilities. Younger guy with a lot of initiative, very smart, very dedicated, I think. He's a hometown boy, graduated from Tecumseh, and I think he's going to do a great job. He's got 2 kids in our school system, and I think you're in very good hands with this young man. I'd like to introduce him, Tom Hawkins, and your wife, Beth. And that's about it. I think the next 30 days we'll probably address some janitorial outsourcing, capital plan, and some stuff like that. So, okay.
Question?
Sure.
The pool ventilation, was that ever repaired, or it takes a whole new system? Or
It does.
It's been bad
It's
for
a
a while.
desiccant system, or I don't have the right name for it. But yeah, it's been bad for a long, long time.
And it'll continue to ruin things like
Yep.
that, lockers.
And you don't even see half of it. If you pull those ceiling tiles out over that pool, that whole area up there is rusted and stuff, just from the floor and stuff in the air.
How much would a new ventilation system cost?
I've seen
Have you looked
anything
at
from
that?
$250,000 to $625,000. It just depends on how you go about doing it. So I'm gonna get into that and break that down
Okay.
and start looking into that too.
Okay.
Because it's gonna have to be done sooner or later.
Right.
And it's just how much do you want to let the pool deteriorate?
Right, and I know at one point when I was on the school board, we even talked about a bond, maybe just
Yeah.
specifically for the pool, and to put like even an addition on it that would draw in more kids and
Absolutely.
lessons and,
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, it seems to be a pretty popular spot
Yeah.
for older people especially.
right.
So I think that'd be
Well,
a
if
great
it puts lights
idea.
in there, the young kids will come too.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome, Tom. Okay, moving on to discussion items. MHSAA High School Cooperative Agreement for Girls Gymnastics. John?
Yeah. So it's something that kind of popped up on us pretty quick. In talking to Jen Poston, our coach, Manchester has 2 kids that are coming to her for the past couple of years as youth kids. Now they're in high school, and Manchester has no gymnastics team. So basically, they want to co-op with us. For us, it really doesn't mean too much. They would still practice with our team here. So there's really no financial obligation to them. I talked to Manchester's AD, their school board approved it last Monday. So we're asking for you guys to approve it, just like our hockey agreement that we did for a co-op too. It's pretty straightforward. Yes.
Do we co-op with other districts or other schools as well?
Not for gymnastics, no, just us and the group be in Manchester for our hockey
Could.
co-op. Yeah, we could, yes, we could. Yeah, so it could be.
So it's something we could actually advertise and say, hey, we want to build a
Yeah.
gymnastics team.
Yeah, and
Or
our team's been pretty good. We don't really do co-ops because we can function with our own team, but this year our numbers are pretty low. I think we have like 7 or 8 kids from.
But it helps out neighboring schools
Yeah,
too.
absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Do they pay a fee or anything to us to play?
They don't, no, just part of our MHSA agreement where they just compete at our league and regional and state leagues. That's all, they just be part of our Tecumseh team. So it wouldn't be Tecumseh Manchester, it'd be Tecumseh.
Right, they're on Tecumseh.
Correct, yeah.
Do we do that with any other sports?
We don't, the Lenawee United that we talked about for the hockey team.
Right.
That's kind of that brand new thing with all of
Yeah.
the Lenawee schools. So that's kind of something new that we're trying to figure out as we go. We don't do any of the co-ops in any schools, no. We could, we have enough kids to support our
Yeah.
team right now. Any other questions?
All right, Board Technology Committee meeting report, John Benzing. Where it wants.
So we had a really good meeting. Thanks to Devin for being there and guiding us through that. We hit on 4 areas that I'll talk about briefly tonight. The first one's Chromebooks. Second one is curriculum, which there's going to be some things that I'll probably take to the curriculum committee. We talked about possibly doing a tech advisor in each building to help lighten the load on Devin and his crew, and then esports. The Chromebooks, it's still a losing battle for these guys to deal with the Chromebooks, and they still don't know how many Chromebooks they actually still own. We have a lot of Chromebooks that didn't come back that are scheduled for an update. So Devin and his team are gonna put a message in there to ask those people when they power up their Chromebook. Is it when they power it up and connect to the internet?
Yes.
They will get a message saying, bring your Chromebook back to Tecumseh Public Schools for an update. And so hopefully we'll be able to retrieve a few through that process. The
You
new-
just didn't turn them in?
People didn't turn them in, and we really didn't have from what I understand, we didn't have a good
Track.
track of what was going on with them. I understand that some kids turned them in at the end of the year last year, some kids didn't, some kids kept their Chromebooks over the summer, so we're not really sure who has what. One of the things that we did talk about going forward, because originally the thought with these Chromebooks was the kids would get them, they'd use them through their career, and then they'd have something to take home with them, take to college. The reality of that is that the Chromebooks are pretty much useless by the time they graduate from high school. So one of the things we're running into now is we're going to start having obsolete Chromebooks. And a thought is maybe we should start looking at lease options for these, where we do maybe a 3-year lease, and that way we can have them in stages. You know, we could do every year, we could rent or lease a group of Chromebooks and then keep doing that every 3 years. So we're cycling in new Chromebooks, and we don't have to deal with the, obsolete machines. I think Devin and his crew said you can get what, $10 for the old ones, $15 for the old ones.
Depends on the model, the condition, anywhere from $3 to $18. Average is about 11.
But
Where do we start, 7th grade?
it costs, what's that?
What grade do they start at?
7.
That's 7th.
Yeah.
So then basically every new 7th grade class we'd have that many new Chromebooks that we would need. And then all the other students would carry theirs throughout the.
Well, there's a lot of things that we need to look at with the Chromebooks. Whether we want kids to actually have them, whether we want to keep them in the buildings, and pass them out. There's a lot of issues that we really have to dig deeper in with these Chromebooks. I think once we get a better tracking system, which Devin and his team have got going right now, and the other thing we need is a better agreement with the parents to spell out exactly what the fees are for the Chromebooks as their kids break them, lose them, whatever. I think as we get some, better information out there, we'll have a better handle on the Chromebooks, where they are, and start getting reimbursed for the constant repairs. But a lease option would at least have new machines in our buildings every 3 years, and if we did that in 3 stages, we'd never have anything that's obsolete or old. So we'll have to start looking into that lease option, but currently we're paying around $200 a Chromebook or so.
Yeah.
But even if it costs us more than $200 to lease them, I think the money that we would save in repairs and just chasing them and
Yeah.
Devin's team, it would be worth that. So that was one of the
Certainly we're
things.
studying.
So the ones that we just got in, is there a tracking system on those at this
Yes.
point?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
you've taken that step now?
Yes.
Yeah, anything that you had in your possession over the summer, you're putting a track on before it goes your side.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Barcode, we can't track it
Right.
per se.
Well-
Because it counts, takes on the skill, we can't track it.
we know who's
But we know who has
Right,
it.
right.
We know who has, we know each,
There's a
According
method
to
of
your
account.
serial number is assigned to each person that takes it.
each individual student, we know exactly what Chromebook they have.
Right.
If someone's still on their Chromebook, we can't track it.
I don't know, can we?
There is software that will allow us to do that.
Is it installed or not installed?
Yeah, currently it is not, but we can push out any software that we add to our library.
Just having the knowledge that who has it, who has this particular Chromebook is in and of itself helpful.
Yes.
So we still have some additional things to work on with the Chromebooks. The other thing we talked about as far as that end user agreement with the parents is beefing up the software that we're using and what information the software companies are using from their children. Because we don't have a good grasp on that right now as well. one of the things that we came up with as far as lightening the load for the tech group is having a building advisor. So someone who's very technical, who understands computers, who can, fix things, download things in each building. If someone has, an immediate issue, Devin and his team don't have to run over to that building and take care of it. We would have a tech advisor, as a teacher in those buildings and potentially give them, a small stipend for having that position. But it would be a good way to lighten the load on Devin's team and get quicker results for the teachers and the admin staff in those buildings. And then the third thing was esports. We've got, I'm sorry, I want to go back to this. One of the things that that we hit on a little bit was robotics was something that most kids got in 7th grade in the past 2 years. This year, we don't have as many students getting that just because of the changes in the schedules. So we were talking about possibly adding, additional classes, beefing up the robotics piece of it, but for those kids that want additional classes, like coding or things like that, maybe added them to the virtual academy. So those kids would actually have an opportunity to take those classes outside of their normal class period to get into those additional things that they're asking for. So that's something I'm going to bring to the curriculum committee and talk to it a little bit more in depth. But I think that we've got some opportunities there with our virtual academy.
Great.
And then esports, we definitely have some interest in esports. We talked about how we would handle that. You can spend a boatload of money on esports if depending on how you do it. But we're going to have to figure out what the interest is, what platforms are available as far as, if we do PCs, I think it's going to be super expensive. If we can find a league out there that they can use like Xboxes or PlayStations, I think it would be a lot more doable. The kids could even bring their own Xboxes or PlayStations, and we could provide TVs. But something we're going to have to reach out to the community to see if we can get some support on it, and also see some interest from kids to build that program. But I think it's got an opportunity. There's colleges out there that are getting esports scholarships now. It's a growing thing.
Well, we had also talked about a course that kids could take in high school or whatever, and they could even help with that department with fixing things and.
Absolutely, and that would fall into that curriculum discussion. That the curriculum committee would handle that more than the technology.
Jen, did you want to say something?
We had an esports team last year. Nice Lightberg was the guy that kind of ran it with Brian Rose, so they kind of did together. We had tons of kids sign up for it. I don't know what they actually did, so it's later on in the year. But I actually boxed in my office trying to get away to people that are doing it. It's hard to get in contact. I know Mr. Meyer talked about doing it, and then Brian McDowell, I don't know if he was coaches for it. But so it's a club, so it's not a paid stipend. But there was, I want to say it was like 100 kids that signed up last year. We were talking about having just like a $70 fee to buy, PCs or just to get something started too. So there's definitely a lot of interest in it. I think it's definitely something we're talking about. A lot of our schools, league schools do it. And there makes it just tons of money for scholarships. The esports championship they had is the biggest event watched worldwide. So bigger than the Super Bowl, NCAA tournament, NCAA football combined. So it's just really, really huge. It's crazy what it is.
The other big thing about it is it gives these kids some camaraderie, where normally these gaming kids, they sit at home in front of a screen, 24/7. So it would be an opportunity for them to, work on their social skills a little bit too.
Well, they get with other people online that they don't know. That's what I used to. I know.
It's different.
I know.
Yeah, overall, great meeting.
Great.
Could I add something to your Chromebook discussion?
Yes.
Earlier this year, Clinton schools, they were leasing, and I'm pulling details off the top of my head from like February. They were leasing Chromebooks, and I think based on some advice from their attorneys, they opted to purchase them and go away from the leasing for some reason. So before we jump into the lease, maybe we should back check why Clinton ditched leasing. And I believe it was legal because, but yeah, from February off the top of my head. I'll be able to check.
I will look into that.
And I have a couple of questions, maybe off topic, but when Lexi first got hers in '83, we had to pay for the insurance. Is that still, I only paid it for one time. Okay. And does that do anything for us?
Well, that's one of the things that we're gonna have to rewrite in that parent agreement, because right now, the way that it's set up is kids can keep breaking their Chromebooks and really not pay anything. And what we talked about was doing a staggered scale. You know, where the first repair is $30, second repair is $60, you know, third repair might be they own it, you know, they replace it. So we need to really work on the verbiage in there to let parents know that this is something that their kids need to take care of. If they don't, they're gonna have to pay for it.
Do most schools have Chromebooks 7 through?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. I know a lot of local schools are using Chromebooks in one way or another, whether the kids have them in their hands or whether they're in the classrooms, but that seems to be the platform that most people are using. We did talk about, you know, there's really two platforms. There's that, and then there's the Apple platform. The issue with the Apple platform is the apps and just using Apple products can be difficult. Not all the apps will work on Apple products, which is another issue. I think our testing software will not work on Apple products.
The NWEA testing does work on iPads. I'm not sure about the WIDA testing.
Okay.
But our fleet of iPads is outdated and becoming obsolete. So we need to either buy new ones or convert to Chromebook testing.
Isn't there less repair on Apple products in general? I mean, I was told that by the guy that comes to my house to fix my Dell computer for work. And he said, I don't ever advise anybody to get Apple because if I did, I wouldn't have a job. He says to me. So, I mean, from an IT standpoint, are they less, do they get less viruses? Of course, these Chromebooks probably don't get viruses and stuff.
The Chromebooks do not get viruses. The issue with Apple products is that they are harder to work on. They don't support repairs the Apple hardware Chromebook does. Apple screens have to be removed with the heat gun. It's a highly technical repair. Something as simple as a headphone adapter stuck in a headphone jack takes us 46 hours of specialized tools to repair.
Wow.
A Chromebook, we can do that repair in 20 minutes or less.
Oh, that's huge right there.
And they're 3 times.
It's the opposite of what I thought.
Yes.
You know, you're gonna spend $600 on an iPad versus $200 on a
Right.
Chrome. So
All right, so moving on to monthly board newsletter.
So I had asked him to put that on, so we could have that discussion about, adding that to, what's that? No? Adding that to the communication. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm okay with it. These gals were up here talking about the different things we should be bragging about, and I'm really all over that. I mean, I think that's,
Okay.
we have a lot to
Absolutely.
tell, and I think we should do it, and I think it'll attract students and staff, and we already have. I just think it's a good idea.
I think the communications committee is probably the natural place for it.
So we're meeting the 26th, and I want to take that to them, but I just wanted to make sure you guys were okay with that, so. Okay.
All right, let's throw a robocall in here. Since we have that. Originally, we wanted robocalls for before each board meeting, Sunday night before, and been happening. So, we got the special posting for special meetings here on the website. I think it'd be good to get back to robocalls.
Just to remind people about board meeting.
That
Well,
was-
that go out to everyone,
It goes out to everyone that's on the,
staff, parents.
Whoever's on the list to call, some people don't want to be called, so.
Greg, that was just, the interruption, and it was just due to staff reassignments or changes in the administration building, right?
I don't know. I don't.
my understanding is when Carly left, that wasn't taken care of, but that was something that we had implemented, or had asked to be done, I should say, so that the community was always aware that there was more than we didn't want there to be any question.
I didn't really get started getting until August, because I didn't have any kids in the district, so I didn't even know you did robocalls.
Yeah.
So
I'm
the next
looking at
question
it, I must have
is,
never gave somebody my number.
so the next question is this something that we want to make part of board policy, or just as a maintaining the status quo ad hoc thing. If it's part of board policy, it should probably go through the policy committee and get added there with any changes.
I would like to see that happen, but in addition, at the time, for the time being, let's
Continue for the
let's
time
just do
being
it.
as maintaining the status quo, yes.
Yeah, I think we should definitely take it to the policy committee and have designated outlets for each type of board meeting, so that we have a standard that,
Yeah,
there's
I
no
like
question
that.
about.
I like that.
Okay. All right, policy review, policy 2410, prohibition of referral or assistance.
Got it, here's the here. So, this discussion,
This is something new with the state law. We have to
So
amend this policy.
what I have is the motion to do it.
Well, essentially, we've got, the state laws changed, and,
So it was already existed, but they updated it in September 2017?
Yes. And we were advised that we need to update that in our system as well immediately.
by October 1st, so, or be subject to a fine.
And it basically just states that no one at the school, and nobody in the school board can refer somebody for an abortion?
Correct, or assist obtaining, so.
Huh.
And then it goes on, there's, the second part there is a food service wellness policy. Right.
We're doing them one at a time?
Yes.
We're only gonna vote on policy 2410 tonight, food service wellness policy, just kind of make you aware of what's coming up.
Because this one's,
This one we got.
there's a big, big fat fine for this,
Yeah.
100,000?
Yeah. State aid.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a motion for
Yeah, we're just.
So we discussed it, or?
All right, so let's move on to action items.
Oh, wait a minute. We gotta talk about 8510.
just a, it's the longest one.
So that.
That's it?
That one we can vote on next meeting.
Okay.
We're not gonna vote on that. It's not required to do that at this point, so we'll just keep it like our normal schedule. We discussed it, and then. we will approve it. All right.
I don't even have the 8510.
Towards the
What's
back.
this 3139?
Oh, okay, it's way in the back.
It's 3139.
Oh, I got it.
Policy 2410,
I got it.
it references 3 additional
Okay.
policies, and we have one of the 3. So when we adopt 2410, we would inclusively adopt all 3.
All right, so moving on to action items. MHSAA high school cooperative agreement for girls gymnastics. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And then.
I move per state law, we adopt policy 2410, prohibition of referral or assistance, which is inclusive of policy 1439 and 4139 as well.
Can I get a second?
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. All right, superintendent's report. Mr. Lewis?
Okay, two staff people to introduce. Tom Hawkins already got introduced, Mike did that, and that's a good thing because it was appropriate at the time. We have a new communications coordinator, Cindy Lyons. Cindy, if you stand up.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Cindy.
And since you're a communications coordinator, you're great at communications, how about if you tell them just briefly what your background is?
My background is 25 years in communications with Jackson County Intermediate School District and Jackson Area Career Center. So I've been involved with spreading the good news there and making sure all of our target markets get the information they need. And I look forward to being on board with all of you and spreading the good news that's already been started by these young ladies and continuing that momentum throughout the community. So thank you.
Thank you. You're sorely needed, especially when you look at our website. We just kind of fall off the tracks a little bit. And the interim superintendent was of absolutely no value in bringing that up. And I'll be the first one to admit it. Our new director of transportation replacing Shannon Gaddy is Ben Newsom. Let me move. Stand up if you would, please.
How y'all doing?
Ben.
He's the guy that's got one of the more difficult jobs in the district, that's for sure. I mean, trying to get bus routes coordinated and put together and getting kids to school on time, out of school on time, and back home. I don't think anybody envies that job. New principal at South Early Learning Center, Kristen DeLand. Stand up, please. That's it. Turn around, face the audience. Kristen's been here for 21 years, am I right?
20 years.
20 years. This is the 21st?
No, this is
20, okay. And your assignments have been varied? You tell them, because you know you better than I do.
I started off as a resource room teacher for 10 and a half years. I moved into second grade for 5, back to resource room for 3, then first grade for 1, and now in administration. So I'm very excited.
It's good.
Let's clap for all 3.
And we should. And last but not least, if I could, this is my last board meeting, at least in this check to be out there, but not up here. And I want to thank everybody that's been coming to the meetings. I know sometimes I've had people from other districts say, wow, you know, your board meetings are so raucous. It's a rough crowd. I mean, it depends on what you look at. If you're here, it can be, usually it's not. I mean, part of the reason I think we have the success we do academically as a school is we have a lot of parents that are engaged. I mean, if you go someplace where the parents don't come to board meetings, don't really care what goes on, you don't have a lot of buy-in. Here we've got it. I mean, is there controversy from time to time? Yep. I mean, been that way since I got hired here in 1989. I mean, it kind of runs in waves. But we've always, through that whole time, had good test scores, or we've had decent sports programs, we've had a great arts program. A lot of things we do here just keep getting better. And that's a testament to the families we have here, the students we have here, the staff we have here, and the administrators we have here. I never made any bones about the fact when I started in May that I was a short-term solution. It wasn't quite as short as I wanted it to be. But there are factors that, you know, were outside of my influence and outside of everybody's influence at that point. I made mistakes. There are things I wish I could go back and redo, but I don't get a restart. I can't unplug it, just plug it back in and go at it again. I did my best. I mean, admittedly, I couldn't work smarter because I didn't have much of a basis on being a superintendent, so I had to work harder. And I promise you I haven't cheated anybody on hours since I came in here, but a lot of that was kind of like working inside a bushel basket because I was kind of trying to work my way along as I went. So I apologize for the errors I made. I think getting Mike Smith here and getting the maintenance department rolling again, and with the addition of Tom Hawkins, and they've also got Jared Wild into an apprentice program that is a go now. Am I correct, Mike? Yep. So we've got a real live maintenance department started right now. That's a good thing. We've got Cindy with her knowledge coming in and bolstering up our communications program. I feel good about that hire. There's you know, Kristen coming in here. I feel good about what's happened there. And actually, I said in May, before Joyce and Ashley was one of my students, I'm always proud to say. The stuff that they started, I mean, I said in May, what we need to fix Tecumseh comes from within. I said in August, when we had the welcome back to school thing, everything we need to fix Tecumseh is right here. We don't need consultants, we don't need outside people to come in here and charge us a fee to tell us what's wrong. I mean, we'll figure it out. Once you're, you know, we've all fought through things like that in our personal lives. Once you're tired of something not going the way you want to, you buckle up and you fix it. And everybody that's in here is part of that solution. And so I appreciate all the support. It was a unique opportunity, not one that I want to keep doing. And but I think you'll be guided by somebody a lot better. There are 3 candidates there right now that look like they've got a lot of promise, and hopefully the best one wins and it goes on forward, because I have 3 grandsons in the district that I'm rooting for. They're 5th generation Tecumseh kids. So I appreciate all these people that are here right now in the front row that have worked as hard as they have, and ones in the back row. And the teachers that are here, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.
All right, consent agenda. There's nothing on the consent agenda, so we are not doing it. Oh, okay, all right, so no consent agenda today. We'll skip right over that. Items scheduled for next agenda, good news, discussion reports, district audit presentation. Action items will be the food service policy. Whatever else comes up in between now and then. So. This brings us to our second public comment portion of the meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. If you have anything you'd like to come up and say, please come up to the podium and speak away.
This is a good one.
I can tell.
We're all smiling.
Bad flashbacks.
They're like, uh-oh. Good.
Would you like us to all say our names?
I think we know who you are.
I'll do it anyway.
Trisha Howard, 5'6", principal at Compass.
Megan Way, North ELC. Kristen Deland, South ELC. Melanie Noah, Old Steam Centers.
Griffin Mills High School.
We just wanted to take a minute to thank Greg for all that you have done the past few months, longer than you wanted to be here. You have led the charge. You have given us something to work for and to feel supported, and for that we want to say thank you very much.
Very well.
Thank you.
We'll keep it short and sweet, like you would like it. You say I talk too much, so I just won't say anything.
We always want to talk.
Bill Swift, Tecumseh, Michigan. Just a quick thing here. The Chromebook repair fee structure that's proposed, I know we're not making any decisions or anything like that. I just would like to say, creating barriers to educational tools for children whose families are already struggling financially isn't sound educational policy. Additionally, I have a question about the passage of the policy that was done today. It was inclusive of other policies that we don't currently have, if I understood. They're not currently policies or not?
Yes, there.
One policy, or references to 2 other ones, and I just wasn't clear as to what those policies were that were referenced. That's all. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's move on to board comment discussion.
When we have a question, whether it's Bill or whoever, what is our policy about responding to that? do we come to the next board meeting and somebody says, hey, this is the answer to the question that somebody asked last week, or how do we handle that, Terry?
It's the board's preference. We used to have on the website all the questions and then answers posted.
We have
The
the
things
answer.
with communication.
We have an answer, I'd rather just get it out.
Yeah, it is,
That
if
same
you
night.
have an answer that's short and sweet, we've done it before where we've given it during board member comments.
Okay.
If you want the answer to be technically correct or provide somebody, in this case, we want to provide him with the verbiage or the narrative
Right.
of the policies, that should be posted on the website, or bring it to the next board meeting so that it can be handed to a person. Or send email to them,
I just think
however.
something formal should be done, and it should be the same, no matter if it's a quick answer, it should still
And
end
I
up.
don't believe it's coded in our policy or bylaws anywhere, is it? So that's probably something that we should shore up our bylaws and policies so there's a clear path.
But for now, can we have the answer in somewhere?
Yeah, the policies that the policy was referring to are already there. This is a new policy that was mandated by the state.
In addition to those other,
The other ones we already have. Policy 1439, 4139, 4130, we already have those board policies.
right,
But this new law refers to those because there's discipline that goes along with.
Right.
Those are disciplinary issues.
And I believe the previous board had spent quite a bit of time, at least they said that they had spent a lot of time rewriting and rebuilding the bylaws, so they should be up to date.
It sounds like there was some updates with the one, and that's what we were clarifying today.
Neil will check, and realize we had never adopted it. Okay. Great, so I got.
I'll talk about the Chromebook policy quickly. These are initial discussions. One of the things that we already do is, we have things in place to help these kids that don't have the money to replace these. So to insinuate that we're going to create a policy that's going to, hurt kids or
We take into consideration, aren't you?
we're not going to do that. That's not going to be a part of the policy. The policy is going to be in there to teach the kids some responsibility and for the parents to have a clear understanding of what the fees structure will be if there is damage.
I mean,
Simple as that.
we spend what, 200,000 a year on?
It's gotta be that, because I looked at what Devin's ordered so far this year, it's just under it's about $147,000 just on Chromebooks and repair parts. And that was the first order this year, so a lot of his budget's already shot. I know, last year when I taught at Morenci, we had Chromebooks, but they just didn't go home. And I think they had them go home in the past, and they got away from it because they found that's where a lot of the damage was done.
Just a transfer?
Yeah, just drop them or not necessarily mistreatment, but I also have a friend of mine that's his son's in Saline. They had to buy theirs in 4 years and never broke it. And it's just, I don't know, we buy textbooks and they get lost. They're just a lot easier to replace than a Chromebook. They're a lot less expensive, depending on if it's a total loss or if it's just a replacement.
I know when we paid that insurance fee, I remember it was a 20 to 30. My impression, this was before any of this, I was just a parent at that time. And I told Lexi, I said, I'm paying $30 for the insurance, but my understanding of it was if we use the insurance once, and then after that, we had to buy it. And so, she was given you will not break this. You will take good care of this. And as far as I know, I haven't gotten a call about it, so I'm guessing hers is still okay. But, and that was my understanding coming into it. We had insurance for once, and then after that, we bought it. So I don't know how that was presented, but that was my interpretation of it.
And there's a lot of discussions that still need to happen with this, especially if the kids take them home or how we do that. Because Devin was saying, just, with the crazy weather we had a couple weeks ago, I think they had 3 or 4, one completely destroyed and several with other issues just because they got soaking wet from the kids walking home in the rain. So, there's just, there's we have to really look at this whole policy with the Chromebooks and how we handle it going forward.
Okay, well, that's where we have you. Kind of gone into a little bit of your comment what I was just saying.
I think I will. I'm even gonna stand up and say it. Greg, you are incredibly modest, even self-deprecating at times. But you did an outstanding job, and all I can give you is my gratitude. Thank you very much for the job you did over the course of the past few months.
You're welcome. I wish it would have been a little faster progress, but I felt like I was able, once I got my head above water, we were able to get a little bit better every day. I think with the new person you get, it'll be a little bit more better every day. If that's the right English way to
Feel better every day.
Acceptable.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
Well, I want to thank you because I'm the one that called you a sucker kid. So I think you
Yeah, that's-
owe you one at least.
No, that's fine. I mean, I've been a public servant my whole life, whether it was either in education or in the military, so I guess it's just my nature, my calling, whatever the right word might be.
Well, thank you. We all appreciate it very much.
Like I said, I wish I could have done more. It just, yeah, it gave you what I had. Good job.
You segued into the board comment.
Oh, we were.
Yeah, we were.
Yes.
I can only echo what they said, correct? You've done amazing things in a very short period of time. Thank you so much.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And of course, you guys have been a big part of that, so.
Huge
thank you
part.
as well.
So is this lady right here. I mean, it's a good staff. It's a good staff. It's a good team. I mean, yep, somebody will come in and they'll make some tweaks because they've got more experience and they'll find things that they can find that'll work better and smoother, more efficiently. That's what you're paying them to do. And I just think we're on the verge of a real breakout. I really do. The relentless positive action, like you see from the ladies over there, it's way to go. And Griff's one of the best cheerleaders ever. He's not good in the dress, but he's a great cheerleader.
Yeah, we don't.
I need that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Got it.
I see him in his old basketball uniform, though.
Yeah,
And the old-fashioned shorts, you know.
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Did you want to announce the meeting on Wednesday?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I did it.
Yep, there is a meeting Wednesday. Look at it in here for me.
I think it's 5 p.m.
We have a reception. at
There's a
4.
reception. So there's a community reception at 4:15, and it's at the high school cafeteria to meet the candidates for superintendent. And then at 5 o'clock, we will start our final interviews, the remaining 3.
Are we going to be in the cafeteria?
No, that will be in the media room. Yep. And if we could get a roll call.